Our guest speaker. Dr. Mimiko is the immediate past governor of Ondo State, who predicates his political engagement on the basis of resolution of Nigeria's crisis and the emancipation of the African man. He was an active student politician as a university undergraduate and turned a full-fledged politician in 1983 as the publicity secretary of the Unity Party of Nigeria, Ondo Local Government Chapter. He became a household name in Ondo State politics through serial political appointments in successive political dispensations as a two-time Commissioner for Health, Secretary to the State Government and Federal Ministry for Housing and Urban Development. In 2009, he became the governor of Ondo State on the platform of the Labour Party as the fifth democratically elected governor, where he served for 2 terms. His 8 years of administration were informed by the consideration for the welfare of the people and was recognized for strides in different aspects of governance that is not only attuned to needs of the masses, but whose revolutionary impact on development has been recommended as desirable for sub-Saharan Africa. In contribution to the Millennium Development Goal, Dr. Mimiko pioneered the Abiye Safe Motherhood Project, which was appropriated by the World Bank as a preferred template to tackle infant and maternal mortality, and recognized by the Center for Strategy and International Studies as a reliable access to quality maternal health services. He is a honorary fellow of the Obstetrics and Gynecology Society of Nigeria, the Financial Standard Newspaper Governor of the year 2009, Achiever of Our Time Award by the Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria, FRCN. Dr. Olusegun Mimiko was honored Governor of the Year 2011 by the Nigerian Union of Journalists and the African Newspaper of Nigeria, respectively. Dr. Mimiko is a humanitarian with Melvin Jones Fellowship Award of the Lions Club International, United Nations Habitat Scroll of Honor Award, and the 2012 Bill and Melinda Gates Polio Challenge given by the billionaire philanthropist as an impetus to pursue more aggressive healthcare projects in the state. He was born in Ondo State. He obtained a BSc in Health Sciences in 1976 and Bachelor of Medicine and Bachelor of Surgery degree from the prestigious University of Ile-Ife, Osun State in 1980. Dr. Olusegun Mimiko is married to Olukemi Mimiko and blessed with beautiful children.
Testify to the fact that not only is he prepared, he was prepared for the office, he has the focus, he has the commitment, he has the passion, he has the love of his own people, and his eyes is set on history.
Ladies and gentlemen, please make welcome with a standing ovation a Paul Harris Fellow of Rotary International, Dr. Rahman Olusegun Mimiko.
Thank you. Thank you. Let me greet the district governor, Rotary and Dr. Ogunbadejo, the governor-elect, Rotary and Kola Shodipo, the governor nominee, Rotary and Jide Akeredolu, the governor designate, Rotary and Bola Oyebade, and I greet the guest of honor, Mr. Rotarian to be, if he's not already one, Austin Avuru. And let me especially greet my brother Akin Tufoma of Sugar Bank. Excited to have you here, Akin. I don't know much of Rotarian or Rotary protocol, but permit me a little of parochialism to greet my elder brother, uncle, and a quintessential gentleman, Rotarian Julius Adelusi Adelui, and his beautiful, darling wife. Permit me to use you as a point of contact to all the elders in the house. It's very important for me also to thank my brother Henry Akinyelu, who insisted that I had to be here today. I had to abandon all the arrangements for first anniversary of my exit from office. But I have told him he will have to pay with 2 Asun ceremonies. Barbecue goat, for those who know what Asun is. But all the same, I want to assure him that I think it's worth my while sharing this evening with such a distinguished audience. He said I should speak at this occasion. And I said, look, what do you want me to talk about? He said I could talk about just anything. I said, for how long? He said 30 minutes. A politician talk for 30 minutes? But I surprised him. And he assured me that there will also be multimedia presentation. So I just speak for 20 minutes and seek your indulgence to view a multimedia presentation for 10 minutes, and I will be done. Let me congratulate the district governor, a colleague of mine. You see, there is an anecdote, it's very popular in Nigeria. There's a particular ethnic nationality here that they are so economically savvy that if they go to read BSc Econs, it's postgraduate. And I'm sure a lot of you know what I'm talking about. Now, when a medical doctor is also a Rotarian, that is postgraduate compassion degree. Because ordinarily a doctor is compassionate, and being a Rotarian is double compassion. I congratulate you and your beautiful spouse. Congratulations, ma. Let me make a confession. I grew up in the crucible of Ife of the 70s. Permit me to recognize my senior colleague, who also was in Ife with us those days, Rotarian Tokumbo. I saw him earlier on. Oh, okay, Tokes. I recognize it. Thank you. Great Ife. Those days, as a student, we belonged to the radical leftist wing. And anything that did not originate in Nigeria was part of the post-colonial vestige. With all sense of respect, those days we classified Rotary Club as one of those colonial organizations. And elitists, the elite, the bourgeoisie, and all of that. So I really never had any contact with Rotary. But my perspective changed when I became Commissioner for Health, first in the old Ondo State, including Ekiti State. At that time, it was the issue of poliomyelitis. And it was impossible then not to interface with Rotary. And that was my first contact with Rotary Club. From their motto, from their mantra, from their four-way test, and more importantly, from the passion with which those I interacted with then, their passion of commitment to eradication of polio. I had a second look and I changed my perspective. And I became close to polio, to Rotary, to the extent that sometime in 2010, I became a proud Paul Harris Fellow of Rotary International. So it is with all sense of humility that I say that I'm a kinsman of sorts with polio, with Rotary International, with Rotary Club. Now, it is impossible to talk about Rotary without talking about poliomyelitis. And I'll be talking about, when I say Rotary, I mean that Rotary International, Rotary Foundation. The credentials are clear, and I think that's been mentioned today. 2016, Polio Foundation, that's the charity arm of your organization, was named the third amongst the 10 top charities changing the world. Well, that was by Charity Navigator, which is America's largest charity evaluator. And there's also the Association of Fund Professionals. In their 2017 conference in San Francisco, your organization was proclaimed the world's outstanding foundation for 2016. And when somebody says, if you need to put in your funds into a charity organization that will be impactful, I join others in saying that Rotary Foundation is highly recommended. Like I said, it's impossible to talk about Rotary without talking about polio. And I stand here as a medical practitioner and as somebody who has come in contact with victims of polio to thank Rotary International especially. Polio, you know, is a very devastating disease that paralyzes your limbs and paralyzes your future, as it were. It is not everybody that is as lucky as my brother Akin, who has defeated polio paralysis and has done well for himself. Akin, once again, we are very proud of you, and thank you for what you have been. With this in mind about the charity credentials of Rotary, I just decided to say a word tonight on philanthropism, good governance, and the third world, sub-Saharan Africa. It's just an overview, because hardly can you do justice to such a wide topic within 30 minutes. Philanthropism, and Rotary stands tall in the tribe of philanthropists. Another philanthropic organizations that are well known and that have impacted globally are organizations like Rockefeller Foundation. And you cannot talk about yellow fever, vaccination, green revolution today without talking about the input of Rockefeller Foundation. But there are recent foundations that are also very big and impactful. And perhaps the most notable of them is the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. And it's also exciting to know that there are some Nigerian foundations that are already getting global acclaim, like the Dangote Foundation or the Tony Elumelu Foundation. But let me just point out that there has been a phenomenal growth in the quantum of money available to the foundations in the last few decades. And I give an example, which you are all familiar with. 2017 Rotary Club, 100 years old. As at 2017, and I'm saying this not to take anything away from the incredible work that Rotary Foundation has done in the last 100 years. But as at 2017, the total quantum of funds that Rotary Foundation has generated and have put into charity was about $3 billion. And that's sizable. And I thought you would just look for yourself. Like I said, philanthropy has grown in terms of quantum of resources available. In 2014 alone, the Bill Gates Foundation put in $3.9 billion 1 year alone. What this means is that what Bill Gates Foundation put in 1 year surpassed what Rotary has done for 100 years. That is not taking anything away from. It is just telling you the quantum of resources out there at the control of charity organizations. Warren Buffett has pledged 99% of his total wealth. And you know that total wealth as of 2017 is about $76.2 billion. He's pledged 99% of that to charity. Mark Zuckerberg, the Facebook chap, has pledged 90% of the Facebook stock. And the Facebook stock is worth $45 billion into charity. Bill Gates and Warren Buffett put together what they call Giving Pledge, encouraging billionaires like themselves, wealthy individuals, to pledge 50% minimum of their wealth to charity. And as we speak, more than 100 wealthy people have given their pledge under the Giving Pledge of Bill Gates and Warren Buffett. So what we are saying in effect is that there is this quantum of money has grown exponentially to the extent that as of 2015, the total amount of private funds for development, that is the total contributed by the OECD nations, the multilateral agencies, international, the bilateral agencies, the total was $134 billion. Philanthropy alone in that year was $58.9 billion. So we are in a situation where fund related to philanthropy and charity is about 44% of the total global fund available for development aid. And as the quantum of money has increased, the processes of disbursement of these funds have also changed. It has changed to the extent that you can hardly differentiate between for-profit giving and non-profit giving again. We now hear terms like philanthrocapitalism, blended finance, venture philanthropies. The process of giving has taken on a new dimension. And what I mean is apart from contributing directly to charity, some of these philanthropic organizations are driving their contribution using their market paradigm of development. I'm a medical doctor. I watch the body language of the governor, and he has asked me to appeal to the House that there should be some quiet. Am I okay, sir? That there should be some quiet. Please. People can move without disturbing the House. Your Excellency, Governor, am I on track? Okay. Just give me 10, 15 minutes more, I'll be done. But the point I'm making is that philanthropism has metamorphosed from giving directly to charity to a business format. And I give an example. There is this global fund for immunization. Now, they just found out that the pharmaceutical companies are no longer interested in new generation antibiotics or even vaccines for new infectious diseases coming up. Because when they consider it and look at their bottom line, it's not worth it for them. Now, what Bill Gates and the new philanthropists do is to de-risk the investment and say, look, if you spend $100 billion, we guarantee the market to ensure that these vaccines get to those who need it. So percentage is subsidized. So they are de-risking the investment and subsidizing the product to ensure that these products get to those who need them. And that is a new paradigm of philanthropism. Some call it philanthrocapitalism. And there are even venture philanthropists who put their funds, like venture capitalists, who put their funds for profit that will ultimately benefit the society. For example, Bill Gates Foundation put about $300 million into MasterCard to ensure digital penetration of underserved areas. And putting that money, it's like the risking what MasterCard had to do. That's various forms of philanthropism to the extent that the business paradigm seems to be driving modern philanthropism. And because of the quantum of money involved, now what has led to this phenomenal growth in the resources available to philanthropists? We talked about Rotary Foundation, 100 years, matched by 1 year of Bill Gates. In the last 4 decades, the reality of the world we live in today is that inequality has deepened. Inequality has deepened to the extent that you hardly believe the disparity in wealth in the world today. And let me give you a few of the figures. 1% of the world today, they have as much wealth as the rest of the world combined. The 8 richest men today, they have the same wealth as the poorest half of the world. That is, 8 people have the same wealth as about 3.7 billion people. You know what we are talking about. The 5 richest Nigerians, their total wealth is $29.9 billion. And I'm very happy that Austin Avuru is in the business. I said to produce, I just want to produce 1 megawatt of electricity will be between $1 to $1.5 million. Am I right? 1 megawatt of electricity will be $1 to $1.5 million. So the 29.9 billion controlled by 5 Nigerians, even at the top of the continual $1.5 million per megawatt, that will produce 20,000 megawatts. With just a few employees, you can roll in billions of dollars in the stock market, what I call the global kalu market. So you will be amazed that when you hit this quantum of money in the last 4 decades, it's gone to a few hands. And that is why unemployment is deepening, desperation, cultism, and the whole world is ravaged in violence. Because the truth is that inequality is deepening. There are countries, most of these countries, for a decade, Nigeria was growing at about 5% GDP. But at the same time, poverty was deepening. Maternal mortality was rising, infant mortality was rising, life expectancy was not going up. So it speaks to the international financial arrangement, which is skewed against us anyway, but time will not permit me to go into details of that. But the point I'm making is that this quantum of money, which has given philanthropism a new clout globally, is a result primarily of the international asymmetry and the dominant development paradigm, which is neoliberalism, which has also led to this incredible and unprecedented interconnectedness, to the extent that even the boundary between nations are broken down. Those who are in the stock market knows there is no boundary in the global financial market. The other factor is that the deepening of inequality itself is a factor of failure of government, especially in the sub-Saharan Africa. And they are all related. There's no question about the fact that government failure in sub-Saharan Africa is clear to everybody. The instances are there for us to know. But the point is that as the philanthropic funds grew, the quality of governance in sub-Saharan Africa was going down to the extent that even international donors would rather give money to NGOs than to give to government. And that was why in the 90s, you had everybody forming NGOs, hustling for funds. But the mistake they made was that these NGOs were accountable to people, but these NGOs were accountable to themselves. So in spite of the tons and tons of dollars poured into Southern Africa for charity through the NGOs, we never got the results. Moving forward, in any case, even the value of governance that we talk about in the 90s was brought about by the structural adjustment policies that was foisted on us in the 80s, which emphasized that we must no longer invest in social services, no longer investment in social services, privatization, which became, we just created oligopolies that were inefficient to the extent that government was not able to serve the critical social needs of our people. So they are all of this related. Moving forward, let me just to say move forward. We need to applaud philanthropists. And I dump my heart for Rotary Foundations for what they have done and what they will continue to do. But we must appreciate that philanthropy can hardly address the root causes of poverty. The root causes of poverty is already ingrained in the world economic order, which is against us. Inequality is political. And until we continue to address some of this inequality, will persist. Let me just round up again by saying, in appreciation of the fact that to address poverty, you need to address the root causes. And let me tell you, with all sense of responsibility, those root causes can only be addressed in a meaningful way that will change the lives and the fundamentals of society through government. Without good governance, you will not go nowhere. And this is why I want to encourage all of you, while you are giving money to charity, we must be concerned with governance in our country. We must know that no matter how much we give, if we are not involved you get if with all your experiences and capacity garnered in private public sectors, you don't get involved. The Philistines will take over. And don't complain when the country is run aground. So I want to encourage all of you, the energy you put into charity, continue, but put the energy into governance, put the energy into politics. Let us rise up to rescue Nigeria in 2019 by identifying people that you think can make a difference, so that as we pray that polio will be history, not later than 2019, that poverty also will be on path of being victory in Africa, including Nigeria. Thank you. God bless you.
Thanks so much. You may be seated. Thank you. Thank you, Your Excellency, for a very thought-provoking talk. In Rotary, we don't give money to our speakers. What we do is to appreciate you with a token. So I'd like to invite my PDG, the Doyen, sir. The Doyen, sir. Sir, please can you come upstairs, sir? He's coming to do the appreciation on behalf of all of us, always in his white resplendent gown, very handsome, young, elderly man. Very handsome, right? You can't dispute that. Please scan the plaque.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, this is a very important moment. Our guest speaker, a very solid Nigerian with very solid track record in the professions and in governance, has shown to us that he is walking his talk. And we pray that success will continue to line your path, that God Almighty will be your guide and your protector. We appreciate your presentation. On behalf of Governor Adewale Ogumbadejo, on behalf of the leaders of Rotary who are here, and on behalf of the guests that we have, we would like to present to you this plaque that is really an appreciation award on the occasion of your sharing some valuable time with us. And as I present this to him, he has one and only one name that is international, and that name is Iroko. So before I make this presentation, please go through the spelling with me. That's not loud enough. I-R-O-K-O. So on behalf of Rotary International District 9110, Nigeria, I would like to present to you, sir, my brother and well-cherished participant in governance, Dr. Olusegun Mimiko, in the appreciation of your invaluable role as the guest speaker at the Rotary Foundation Dinner and Dance for this year, 2018. We believe in validity, so this plaque has been validated by the signature of our leader on this very day, the 24th of February 2018, signed by Dr. Adewale Ogunbadejo, District Governor 2017 to 2018 of Rotary International District 9110. Please give your applause. Congratulations, you deserve it. Well done.
Let me first pay special tribute to Dr. Olusegun Mimiko. I listened very intently to his presentation earlier this night. And I was happy that for somebody who ran a state for 8 years, he eventually summarized his presentation about philanthropy by saying that in the end, what any nation needs is good governance. The absence of good governance is poverty. In particular, the absence of good governance where there are opportunities for people to be wealthy means a wide gap between the rich and the poor, and that's criminality, breeding. And that was very, very interesting, coming from somebody who for 8 years ran Ondo State and made a mark during his tenure. And I'm very close to a number of his subordinates that he does not know, so I followed his tenure throughout. I argued with some of his subordinates when he was crossing to PDP. I didn't think he should, but he did. For us and for the company I work, philanthropy and capitalism and entrepreneurship go together all over the world today. Because entrepreneurship is meaningless if you are not creating value for the general good. And that's what philanthropy is about. So for us in Seplat Petroleum, we run a medical outreach program in the areas where we operate. One we call I Can See. We've done over 6,000 cataract surgeries in Edo and Delta states. We just started the same outreach program where we're operating now in Imo State. And you cannot believe the impact of some of these 50,000 naira surgeries. You see people in rural areas who are known to be blind. And after a cataract surgery, like miracle, they start seeing. You know, in the rural areas, their expectations are not too high. If you give them clean water and access to medical care, you double the life expectancy in those places. So for me as a person, I also run a foundation, my own foundation, through which I try to give back. But I made a pledge to the district governor when I met him before today that I would donate to the foundation, the Paul Harris Foundation. And I told him when he came to my office, I wish I was a very wealthy person. I would have simply written a check. But what I will do, the pledge that I made will be redeemed over 3 years. On the 1st of May every year, starting from May this year, I will personally donate $50,000 And over the same period, the company I work for will match it with $100,000. So on May 1, 2020, you would have gotten your entire $250,000 from me. Thank you very much. Thank you.
It's actually 120 times 3 to give you 360 in lieu of 250. Not even Naira bets forever. Chairman said, Olusegun. Thank you very much, Mr. Austin Avuru. We really appreciate you.
Will the guests of Mr. Austin Avuru please come forward?
My wife, Mrs. Victoria Avuru.
Mrs. Victoria, please. Avuru should please join us. And his guests should please come to the stage. The RI Director, nominee, Mr. Babalola. Why are you hiding downstairs? On behalf of the District Governor, District 910, and indeed all Rotarians in our district, it's my pleasure to present this plaque to Mr. Austin Avuru, who has pledged $250,000 to Rotary Foundation. And that makes him an AKS member. Even with $10,000, he's already a major donor. And I'm happy that his wife is here with us, Mrs. Victoria Avuru, who I will regard as a major donoress. This is an appreciation award presented to Mr. Austin Avuru in appreciation of your invaluable role as a special guest of honor at the 2018 Rotary Foundation Dinner and Dance. Presented today, February 24, 2018, by Dr. Adewale Umubadejo, who has mandated me to present this on behalf of the district. Congratulations. Yeah, thank you.
Yes, I think you should.